as we look at the past, I would hope we can get inspired by looking at the craftsmanship and looking at the details and long to build better because we see beautiful things like this. I've been pushing off technology because, technology begins to happen in houses as early as the 1880s, 1890s, when we have early electricity, early gas, early water being run to houses. Running water was available in the 1880s. The light bulb was 1879. Telephone in 1876. But there's a website, Our World Data, that has adoption of technology. And if you look at it, this little band here, there's a lot of, technology acceptance that's happening here. And that's why when we were talking about late Victorian things, even though they had been invented, right? I think the number in, I don't know if I wrote it down there, but that running water to the house wasn't, over 60% until like 1940, which is crazy to me. Is that right? I could probably look it up. Yeah, I mean, if there's 1940, right, so 60%. So sometimes in 1930, we start having, 50% people having running water in their houses. So technology happens, and it affects how those houses are built and what's going on here. Perfect example is the telephone. It was invented in 1876. This is a 1927 catalog that was actually selling phone niches, right? Look at the stair hall with the phone niche. That was extra. But I mean, if you guys grew up watching movies and shows like I did, Father Knows Best, remember that show?
Oh my God, I love that show.
That phone was right at the bottom of the stair, and everybody sat at the bottom of the stair and they listened to the phone. The other one was It's a Wonderful Life, right? When he kind of gets together, everybody loves that movie. When he gets together with his wife and they're kind of arguing and fighting and they get married, the phone is right at the bottom of the stairs. And so that was iconic, right, from the 20s right into the 40s and 50s. And so one place, of course we have our phones now that we carry in our back pocket, but that wasn't the way things were then. Kitchens are another thing, right? So I basically got the kitchen household pieces and where they were, and you see this adoption happening in this 20s to 40s, running water, refrigerators, electric power, stoves. In 1920, okay, this is what a kitchen looked like, okay? There's cabinets, kind of lower cabinets, open sink. I was told one time, somebody told me this, that the reason they showed the pipes underneath the kitchen, they wanted that showed, was to show that they had running water in their house, right? It was kind of a way to show off their wealth. So, who's your cabinet? And range, okay? By the way, that range that's in the kitchen right there, that's a 1921. It stood up on cabriolet legs like this. If you want to see what a stove looked like from that period, it's right in there. So Hoosier Cabinet in 1920 had a design competition for the best kitchens. And this was the winner. Looks like a closet today, right? It's like a pantry. The reason why it wins, okay, is because in this period of time, it was a work area, it was a workout, where it was a workroom, right? And these little things here were time studies that they did to see how many steps you took to go from one place to the next. So they were trying to figure out the most efficient space possible to cook in, right? So, let's see, put my thing. So there's the refrigerator, where's the sink? Okay, there's the sink here. I kind of turn it around this way. The sink was on the back side of the dining room. And then these were your only cabinets. And this is why in 1920, you really don't see cabinets advertised in the millwork catalogs, because they really weren't using them the way, we would use them today. These were other, winning contributions to the Hoosier Cabinet Company. So basically, Hoosier Cabinet Company, which was a great idea, it was a baking center, it was everything all in one. You opened it up, you got your flour, you did your cooking. They had a special top there so you could knead your bread and do all these things. It was a very efficient piece, right? And so they hired architects, or they opened up this competition to see who would create the best kitchen with a Hoosier cabinet, which is what they're trying to do. This one doesn't even have kitchen cabinets, right? It just has a Hoosier cabinet. There's your stove, there's your sink. Yeah, this one has cabinets on either side, but again, they're very sparse. They're very small spaces. This is a Milwaukee Catalog from 1921. There's your exposed piping. It was rare in my experience to see cabinets on two walls pre-1930. Most kitchens look like this. Most countertops in this period have, depth about 20 inches. If you try to put a new dishwasher in these things, they don't fit. And so that's pretty typical. This is 27, so 6 years later, right? You're beginning to see a lot more cabinets come in here, cabinets going all the way to the ceiling, different details in there. This is the first time, 27, you find component cabinets that you can buy like this, right? Because before then, what you were doing is you were building the boxes on site and you were ordering the cabinet doors. So you would build it, you'd measure it out, you say, I need 6 cabinet doors this size by this size, and they would send you the cabinet doors. Now by 27, they're starting to provide pre-built cabinets, and then these are the accessories you can add, right? There's the chop top that goes for the countertop. There's the flour bin thing that you might have seen that tips out, right? So the kitchen is advancing. 1936, okay? And look what happens to Milwaukee Catalogs, okay? You wonder what the Great Depression did to us in this period of time. This is 1920. This is 1936, right? This is hardcover, beautiful rendered pictures in here. Some of the pictures you've seen, but if you just look at these, the colored drawings, these drawings here, right? This is a book that is beautiful. This is not. This has black and white pictures. It's very utilitarian. Still good information in there, but this is, the houses are really changing, and the Great Depression certainly had a lot to do with it. These kitchens, I think are pretty typical, that 8'6" by 12 foot. They talked about a typical 10-foot top, which is what that one was. And so there's 10-foot sections. So kitchens were still small. They weren't quite as small. They were in the 20s, but they were still small. Notice too, if you walk into an old kitchen, you wonder what period it is. Probably in the late 30s and early 40s, you start seeing plywood doors. You don't really see solid plywood doors like this in the 20s. They're usually panel doors, but you start to see those in that period. Some of the accessories, nice refrigerator. The cabinets don't go all the way to the ceiling anymore. That's something from the 20s, but in the 40s you start seeing the fur down. Those things are happening.